bills were not paid, and their bonuses were also like they had to struggle out before they. So for Ghana, everything is Black Stars. Everything is Black Stars, and the athletes are struggling. So it's more like, okay, it's me against the world. It's me. I want to win the laurel for myself and my family and my fans. Forget government, forget Ghana. But the painful part is they are representing the flag on their jerseys that they are wearing. They have the flag in there, the colors in there.
Yeah.
And people start bashing them. People were bashing them. Oh, Abeku Jackson, you were thinking that Kobe here, then you didn't do well. The first athletics that happened when the Asmati couldn't qualify, and we're bashing. Ask what support did they get? So before you bash, please scrutinize the whole issue first. Don't go saying things that you don't know. They don't get a support, so you don't expect them to also. The letter that they have, they are using. So don't expect them to do the maximum.
The thousand coaches we have in Ghana.
Exactly. To whom much is given, much is expected. To whom less is given, don't expect that much.
The least is expected.
Don't expect it. Anyway, so today promises to be another exciting show from now to approximately 9:30. We have the usual Sucha Jelly will come through after this introduction, and then we'll come in to do Matters Arising. A lot of stories to talk about. There's a potential of some fuel price going down. Hopefully, if the margins go down by 20%, hopefully we can have some relief. Already there was a 5% reduction, I think 2 weeks ago. So the next pricing window, hopefully, if all things being equal, if the price goes down, hopefully we're going to have some reduction in transport fares as well. Then also there's some disturbing stories in Itua and then Yellow Krobo with respect to the lighting system. There's some not having lights, some people's lights going off and all those things. So
and some persons taking advantage of that, problem. And then
somebody's charging phones, charging 5 Ghana cedis, depending on the kind of phone that you bring. Say Yama on the price, say Android on the price, iOS on the price. So yeah, that's well. He is making his money. He's using generator because of better fuel.
But according to him, in as much as he's getting money out of this business, he's found for himself. He still wishes that the lights will be back, especially for the BC students, so they can learn and sit for their papers.
It's inconvenience also because that can but you're charging me for no that kind of thing. But Charlie, that kind of thing. Like. My bow Benjamin phone, watch I do it dry L 98. Oh, you're going to call 2 minutes, 5 minutes on Sabbath.
Because so, I'm thinking it's just him running that business. So
he says in his vicinity, he's the only person, but there are others also in the nearby suburbs also doing this. So he's not the only person. So I'm sure the others, but so based on proximity. So say I'm GBC, you wouldn't want to travel all the way to let's say Castle to go you come close if you have say Usu or something, because it's shorter.
For how long is this going to be on?
Anyway, so
I mean, not paying light bill for like 8 years. It's a lot of money.
Well, the National Service Secretariat is telling this personnel to stay put in August. Usually, it's supposed to be it's supposed to be their leave, but they are asking them to stay put. Why? Well, we'll tell you the story. And yesterday was the Gender and Social Protection Minister. We have a substantive noun. The deputy is now being raised or nominated to become the head, and then she has a deputy also. There's a letter from the Flagstaff House signed by Eugene Ahin, the communication director of Flagstaff House or Jubilee House. So we're going to read that to you as well when we get into Matters Arising. A lot of stories to talk about that.
Yeah, the story about the female genital mutilation that raised this ugly heads during COVID era doesn't sit well with me at all. Really in this modernization era, FGM.
Well, they attributed it to the fact that when the COVID-19 lockdown happened,
should it be an excuse? Should it be an excuse? Should it be an excuse? Tools they're going to use on female A will be used on female B, and they have no idea they are transferring infections all around.
Fortunately,
the pain alone, I believe, is unbearable.
Yeah, imagine. Why somebody's mentality is that when you cut off the clitoris, it enhances the woman, makes her better. Sexually active.
No, rather not sexually active. So you can't really go for it. I think I've read around this thing way back.
No. That's the grandmothers and what their perception of wanting to cut it off is for what?
Their perception.
I understand the repercussions that comes with a young woman, but what is their idea for wanting to cut it?
Their idea is that you as a lady, is only you should have sex only when your husband demands it. So you can't feel excited and they want to do something outside. You get, so it's only when your husband demands it, then he comes to you. So you should always be ready for just him.
Primitive and a cake.
Thank you.
Anyways, that is linked to stay alive today. You are doing yeast. Because say yeast, yes, anka pan on the other two.
9 to 1.
Yeah,
it's popularly called candidiasis. Yeast infection. But we also have yeast infection in men.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeast infection in men.
And
if you're a man and then you have a sexual intercourse with a lady who has yeast infection, you have penile infection.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll look into that. We'll have a gynecologist in the studio and Stay Alive segment. I will talk more about it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So on my part on InfoFocus, I'll be having Kwame Nasasawa joining me once again. Today we're talking about, we are complaining that the Kumaeshi, but Charlie, I told you yesterday or 2 days ago, we drove through town, went to airport areas. My friends and I, we had to do some sales things. So we're moving around. Charlie, the cars we were seeing, I see them watching, but cars that we were seeing. I'm saying I'm watching a certain part of Accra or Ghana, and then some parts there they don't even feel it at all. Well, if you intend to buy a car, what are the things you look out for, or the things you plan to do? So there are issues like you look at this sustainability, as in you can sustain it in terms of maintenance. Can you also afford the price? If you're going for a loan, how you can be able to repay that model, all those things that you need to look out for. And then also the engine size, people look at the engine size, and if it's resellable also. Some of us are cars here for sale within 1 week, so if you are buying a car, do you consider all those things? Those are the conversations you're going to have with Kwame Nasasawa, the CEO of AutoWaste, when he joins me later on InfoFocus today. Yeah, very
necessary. I'd love to, I'm looking forward to that conversation because there's a lot I want to learn from there. So
all right, so these and many more coming up. Plus, in between time, the goddess of sports, Precious Azuma, will be coming through with sports in a minute, and we'll be giving you some spice music in between also for you to de-stress whatever stress you have. Anyway, so the show is brought to you by Kanekesi Prudential Life Insurance. Always listening, always understanding. We'll take a quick breather. When we come back, we'll get into the kitchen with Sister Jelly, and both of us will be back to do Matters Horizon. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Hello, sweet team. Welcome back to my channel. This is Sweet Ajele, and in today's video, I share with you all how I had to prepare this big pot of curry or turmeric or yellow rice for my beautiful Cece's restaurant while she was away. She makes her yellow rice, but she's not there, so I'm making my version for her. Okay, so I begin by adding some vegetable oil into a pan, and we'll be making 2 pots of this. Okay, so that I'll add some chopped onions, and I'm using about 2 large onions, and I'm going to fry this until it is nice and translucent. I'll then go ahead and add in 1 tablespoon of turmeric, 1 tablespoon of curry powder, 1 tablespoon of shrimp seasoning, and 1 tablespoon of salt. I'll give everything a quick stir, and then I'll go ahead and add in 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Yes, I love that hint that it gives. When I make this at home, I only use curry powder, but because I'm making a large quantity and also because I want it to be more yellow, I added some turmeric. I then washed about 20 cups of rice and I added it to it. And at this point, I'm going to stir fry it until the rice begins to stick on the bottom of the pan, which will be an indication that it is ready to take in our water. This will help our rice be single grained and also absorb a lot of the delicious flavors that I've added into the oil. I taste for salt and I adjusted it a bit. I find that stir frying it with the salt helps the flavors go in better. Now, because I'm using jasmine rice that does not require a lot of water, I'll add in my water just above the level of the rice, not too much, and then I'll stir everything beautifully, cover it with a parchment paper and the lid, bring it to a boil. Once it boils, we'll lower the heat and allow it to cook for about 10 minutes, and by then all the water or most of the water should have evaporated from it. Give it a stir. This helps the rice have even color. Okay, at times the top of it will be more yellow than the bottom, and if you do not stir at this stage, it'll end up being double color, and we do not want 2 to 3 colors for one yellow or curry rice that we're making. And when cooking with a huge pot, you can always spin your pot around while stirring so that you know you've stirred it very well. Once you've fluffed it up beautifully like this, cover again with your parchment and continue cooking, checking on it periodically and fluffing it so that the steam can go through and through to cook your rice to perfection. Okay, we want this to be nice and delicious because it is going to the restaurant and we do not want to disgrace ourselves. So it is coming together beautifully. Meanwhile, I'm cooking a second pot on the side, which I would be adding vegetables with, because some people like it plain and others like it with a bit of veggies. In a pan, I'm going to add in some coconut oil, which is my favorite to make my veggies stir fry. And then I'll add in some frozen vegetables, season it with some of my all-purpose seasoning. You may add a bit of salt to taste. I'll give this a good stir fry and I'll cook it just until the moisture is out of it. You do not want to add water back into your rice, so you want to cook the water out if there is any. So please do cook this on high heat so that you do not overcook it. And this is what our veggies are looking like. It has cooked down beautifully, and it is time for us to add it to our second pot of rice. I told you all that I was making 2 huge pots. Yes, Sissy, whenever you're not around, Sweet Ajele got you. So we're just going to stir everything together, and you want to add your veggies in when your rice is fully cooked. You don't want it to be halfway cooked because you don't want the veggies to continue cooking and become mushy. Now, whenever you cook rice with veggies like this, you want to ensure that it goes into your refrigerator once everybody is done eating, because the vegetables will help it go bad quickly. And this goes for jollof rice as well. If you like to put vegetables in your jollof rice, always ensure that you store it properly. Otherwise, the vegetables will go bad quickly, which will also cause your rice to go bad. I'll cover it and allow it continue cooking for just about 5 minutes, and both our rice are ready to go to our restaurant. Do you like it with veggies? We got you. You like it plain? We got you there as well. Taste of Flavor is located in New Jersey in Union. Whenever you're in New Jersey, search or Google Taste of Flavor and your GPS will take you right there for some delicious soul and African food. And while there, let them know Sweet Achele sent you. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and are inspired to try the recipe or to visit Taste of Flavor. Until I see you in the next one, stay safe, keep loving each other, and remember that the love of God and family is life's greatest blessing. And guys, ke unamini ochemi sweet mahabotu. Bye y'all. Adiana to look on again. Gambling water, gambling fish. And sweet Ajele, mbao, mammy open. Continental food, madam. Food, madam. International food cartoon. We'll show you how to make pizza, jollof, bangu and okra soup, sushi and pastries. All this and more. Sweet Ajele. Go, 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 sweet Ajele. Go, 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 sweet Ajele.
Welcome back from the break. Just gone by was a conversation on Stay Alive with Stephanie and Dr. Kobina Annan. We're talking about yeast. And as I said earlier, I thought yeast would be in but it looks like it seems to be some sort of infection that is affecting not just the female gender, but of course the males as well. So you should be very careful about how you get such, you just take care of yourself. Essentially, the whole conversation was about hygiene, taking good care of yourself. If you're a guy, keep wearing that boxer for 1 week, you don't wash it, you go and take it and wear it again. Anyway, welcome to InfoCast segment, and as I told you from the beginning of the show, we're going to have a conversation about cars. Many people are purchasing vehicles. They had a plan this year, 2022, as a car, and the car that you want to buy, what kind of car are you contemplating on purchasing? What is the value of the car? Is this something that you really think that when you're ready to dispose it of, it's easy to sell? I remember when I was driving my Nissan Sentra, an old 1992 version. I had used that car for 4 good years. After that, just a week or two, I decided to put for sale on it because I wanted to sell and upgrade. Yeah. That same week, I got somebody to buy it because of the quality. I mean, how strong the car was. So all these things have to be taken into consideration. But I'm not the one to answer all the questions. To help us do that, I have the CEO of AutoWiz, Joining me today is the person of Kwame Onassis Howard. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you back.
Thank you, my
Before we get into conversation, though, I have some quick two birthday shout outs to do, and then we'll get into that conversation. So this one says, wishing my little sister a happy birthday. She is Mrs. Mary Quay. The one thing that her heart is desiring should come to pass. Unfortunately, I didn't get to know who is wishing her, the big sister, because this says the little sister. So the big sister, I don't know your name, but I would have got your name also. And it says, wishing my little sister a happy birthday, Mrs. Mary Quay. That one thing that her heart is desiring should come to pass. So happy birthday to you, Mrs. Mercy Quay. And then the final one says, happy birthday to you, Derry. May God grant you all your heart desires, wishing you good health and wealth with much love from Abba. So Abba is wishing Derry a happy blessed birthday. So Derry, you enjoy your birthday too as well. And all of you celebrating your birthday, don't forget tomorrow is a public holiday. So in case you're going to use that to do a birthday party, please don't forget to let us know. All right, so call us and then we'll be there to celebrate with you. So actually the first birthday is coming from Mrs. Ogwa, the host of Trinity of Hstv. She's the one wishing you happy birthday. So once again, wishing you, my little sister, a happy birthday, Mrs. Mary Quay. That one thing that your heart is desiring should come to pass. It's coming from Mrs. Ogwa, your big sister, to you. Wishing you a happy blessed birthday. Enjoy your birthday. So please, if you're doing the birthday parties, don't forget us. Why? We like parties. We'll come and enjoy with you. All right, so things to note or to take care of or to consider when you're about to buy a car. What are those things? Is our conversation this morning on In Focus. And as I said, I have the CEO of Auto Waste, Kwame Onassis Howard, joining me today. By the way, the Onassis is a sneaky name, so let me take that one. Kwame Howard.
Okay.
Yeah. How are you? How's the family?
I'm good.
How's the baby Kobe?
Latest daddy in town.
Congratulations, by the way. Welcome to the fatherhood.
Charlie.
Anyways, let's talk about our conversation. So, let's say I'm a graduate, I've finished school, I've worked for a few years, and I have plans of purchasing a car. What will be the first thing to consider or to look out for?
It's everyone's dream to have a car, to own a car.
By the way, the first question I should ask rather is car a luxury or is a necessity or a need? Because people just oppose it to be a luxury. Some people say it's a luxury, some people say it's a need.
Okay, the first question is, why do you need the car?
Okay.
Why do you need the car?
Okay, so yes. Based on the need, then it becomes either a luxury or necessity.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so why do you need the car? Okay, someone may for business or for personal gains. A car should be something that will add value, or that will help you or add value to whatever you do. It shouldn't be something that will, put some stress load or make you retrogress in life. And I mean, you can buy a car, and it could be a very bad decision.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends.
Right.
It's
because my producer has a car, but he doesn't use the car. He says we waste this car too much into a parking car needs to be
perfect.
Perfect.
He doesn't want no stress.
Okay.
No stress.
Okay. So
no stress.
It's based on what the car is going to do for you, or the value is going to add to your life.
So let's take for instance, like you want to buy a car. It's either you're going to use it for your own personal, private, and then
for commercial
purpose.
Okay.
Like that is the main.
Okay.
So you should have a reason to why you want to buy it. I mean, we all growing up, we finished school. Every young child or every young person, growing up, you want to get a car. Everybody wants to buy a car.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we even cite certain dream cars that we want to buy. Some are falling for.
Yes.
Until recently, Tesla. Others want to have their Range Rover.
Others want to have
the
BM, Toyotas, the Hyundai.
Yes, all those ones, the Tundras and all.
Yeah.
So in your attempt to buy, what are the things you look out for? And as much as you have a dream that, okay, for me, I want to drive my Benz, either the E-Class or maybe the S-Class, whatever it is, what should I look out for?
Okay, let's go back a bit.
Okay.
Let's take this back a bit.
Okay.
It's your dream to buy a car. You have a budget. Okay, you want to spend, this is the type, normally they look at the type of car they want and then they weigh in their options to see if their budget will be able to meet it. Okay, so the first thing is one thing is you have to look at your budget.
The first thing is your budget.
Your budget. You look at your budget, how much you are prepared to spend. It is not always what you want
that you will get.
That you always get. No.
Okay.
You have to be able to weigh in a lot of options, and that's what most people don't really look at.
Okay, so my dream is to have, let's say, a Benz, but at the moment my budget can only afford, let's say, a March morning.
Not. I'm not even looking at it.
Like
I'm not even looking at it from that angle.
Okay.
My dad always told me, he was like, if you smash your car today, or your engine breaks down today, you should be able to be back on the road within a week.
Oh, okay.
In less than a week, you should be able to be back on the road. Yes. So for instance, you have 80,000 Ghana cedis in your account. You take 75,000 to go buy a home used car. Maybe the car, the lifespan of a car, I consider it around 200,000 miles.
200,000
miles, yes.
Okay.
With around that time, 10 where might have occurred so much that most of the times around 200,000 miles, your gearbox, the transmission is almost gone.
Okay.
Yes.
Even with that, can you replace the gearbox and the engine to get it back in shape? Or
yes, you can replace it, but let me land.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Sure. So let's take for instance, you have 80,000. You buy a car. You buy a car for, let's say, 75,000. Let me use a car that we all know. Let's take for instance, a Toyota Corolla. Okay, a Toyota Corolla. Okay, let's take for instance a Toyota Corolla 2016 year model. The engine on the market is about 15,000. You buy a home used car. You clear your account, 80K in your account. You buy a car for 75,000 Ghana cedis. You drive the car for a month, the engine is broken. You can't fix it. You need to consider all these things.
Okay.
So once the engine is gone, you should be able to get money to fix it and put it back on the road. That's what makes you a man. That's what makes you
buffer or your back salary, or sorry, your account should also be ready.
Yes.
You should know that
once you smash your car or your car is totally off, it's gone, you should be able to put the car back on the road in a week's time. Yes. My dad will tell you, when your car is spoiled, or let's take for instance your car is stolen, it's damaged, or it's messed up, you can't do nothing about it. It should take you 1 week to go get brochures or read more and find out the next car that you want to buy. That money should be ready.
So it also depend on the kind of insurance probably you did, if it's totally out of
exactly. So
okay,
I'm here to come there. I'm here to come there. So
right.
When I have clients come to my shop and then I talk to them, I ask them, okay, you have a car. You bought a car for 80K. I ask you, when this car is damaged or is destroyed, can you replace it? It goes like, no. I say, look, you need to go in for comprehensive insurance. That is the best. And comprehensive insurance is very expensive.
Yeah.
Very, very expensive. A car around 80K now, you'll be paying about 6,000 Ghana cedis a year for it. Yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. And it's the best. If you don't have, it's choices. Sometimes you need to take the risk. You can be paying the 8,000 every year for 4 years, no problem. But it's good. Just to be on the safe side. Because once the car is destroyed and you don't have money to replace it, the insurance will be there to help you, to put you back on the road.
So for instance, I pay the 80K for a car. My insurance I pay annually is about 6K.
Yes. So you need to consider all these things.
6K annually, I use that car for like 10 years. There's no wear and tear. I don't know.
Definitely be wear and tear.
They will probably wear and tear, probably.
Yeah.
Because I know, for instance, maybe a Benz, for instance, usually, I don't know, maybe you correct me though, I'm told that when you buy a fresh Benz, its warranty period is around 10 years or something. If you're able to service it properly,
yeah,
you can advise.
That is when you service your car with the manufacturers where the car is actually coming from. When you do that, you're okay.
Okay, so 10 years. The example we did once again, 80K for the car. I drive for like almost 5 years or 10 years, and I was able to maintain the car properly.
Yeah.
And there's nothing on it. It has less of accident.
Yeah.
I still pay 6,000 cedis, and I know the past 10 years, I've been giving away 60,000 Ghana cedis.
No, what happens
for
is
insurance.
That, what happens? One thing I know with the insurance companies is that once you don't go in for a claim, every year
there's a rebate.
They take
really?
they take off something. I think it's about 5% or something. Once you don't,
5%, so, yeah, it's negligible.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, it's worth it. You don't go in for a claim, you are good. You're good.
Okay, so first things first. So now you need to have your budget, as you said.
Yes.
Know that you have a budget and the buffer, as in the hedging kind of money that in case of any eventualities you're able to get back on track. Yes. So that money established. Averagely, if somebody wants to buy a car, somebody who has, once again, let me use an example, who just graduated, he's worked for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
What kind of car would you advise a person to even budget for?
Okay.
Yes, the person has never bought a car before.
For starters.
Yeah, for starters.
Okay, let me take you through what I actually went through, like growing up. Okay, so I didn't actually have the money. I couldn't afford to buy a new car. Okay, so I was using my dad's car, and that was what keeps me like a bit going up and down. Actually, it was a good car, but not very. It was a home use car. Okay, that's what I would say.
Okay.
So what happens is once you use the car and the car it's not a new car, you start having issues, wear and tear. It's not so you actually now begin to even learn. You get me? You will learn a bit. Once you drive, your tire will go down, then you learn your engine problem here, alternator, battery and everything. I advise people who always want to buy cars for their children, brand new cars, I always advise them, give them your old car. Let them use the old car, and then they will learn a few things.
So how do you get access to such a car?
I mean, it depends. That's how you see mine as an example.
Yeah.
I mean, so let's go back to your question. You want to buy a new car. You want to buy a car. It depends. It's two things. It's either you're buying a brand new car or you're buying a home use car. With a brand new car, you're good to go. You are guaranteed. With some of the brand new cars coming from these car dealers, like Toyota, Silverstone, and all those people, they have warranties on their engines. So their engines, for instance, can run you for about 100,000 kilometers before. When you have any issue with that, you're safe. They have this time frame. Yes, that you're safe. And then some of them can even give you 3 free oil change when you buy it. And then you are guaranteed that when certain things happen, they have terms and conditions on it. They have terms and conditions. So actually, when you buy a new car, you're safe. You're better. When you buy a home use car, that is when we're talking about the insurance. You need to have your insurance. Before you buy the car, you consider your insurance. You consider your license, your roadworthy. You consider your maintenance. And that is one thing that really worries a lot of people. They buy the car, they don't know how much it will cost them to fix certain things. You should at least have an idea on your basic, standard, and full servicing. We have the basic. Basic will just be engine oil, filters, and then fluids. Then you go to the standard, which will be your brake pads. I mean, they'll find out a few things like dropping your transmission fluid, engine oil, and all those things. So you cap all those things and then you find out. So I can give you an instance. You buy a Range Rover 2014. Your radiator is spoiled. Your radiator is going to cost you, let's say, about 3,000 Ghana cedis. Yes.
Radiator for Range Rover is?
Yes, let's say 2013, 2014.
Okay.
That is about 3K. What is the essence? The radiator is spoiled. You need to replace the radiator. You can't replace it. Then what's the essence of buying that Range Rover? Who were you buying the car for? Were you trying to buy the car to please someone, or were you trying to impress, or what were you trying to you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So you should watch all these things. All these things you need to put them into consideration.
So you mentioned some few things. So insurance,
your roadworthy, your license,
and your
maintenance.
Why license?
I mean, your license, you'll be renewing your license every year.
Okay.
Or maybe is it a year or 2 years or something?
Yeah.
Yes, you should
every
consider.
2 years or so.
You should. People, you see, that's why I was giving you this example that you can't buy a car for 8K and then you have a car 80K. You buy the car you have 80K in your account. You buy a car for 75,000 Ghana cedis, and then you didn't consider all these things. You didn't consider all these options. You get me? That's
so that's the same way you can have an accident.
Yes, that's why I was telling you that. I want us to talk about this because lots of people just, I need a car. They just go and buy the car, and then all these things start coming in. They didn't consider your fuel. Most likely, like quite recently, people have companies, people who work in this corporate institutions
and all that.
Yeah, they give them fuel allowances and all that. I mean, yes, it will help you to some extent. But then when it coming in, you should, at least you need to take risk. You can't count all your chicks before they are hatched. Yes. But then you should consider all these things.
Okay.
You know, I'm saying all these things because I'm in the field, I'm at the shop, and I see people come in. And you realize that someone comes in driving a Mercedes, can't afford to change maybe shocks.
Sometimes maybe it might be a gift or something like that. You can't turn down a gift.
Oh.
Or when you get the gift, you should downgrade it. Let's say you sell it and then go and buy it.
I know of a man who had his car at my shop.
Okay.
And I was advising him, why don't you give this car to your brother to use? He told me he's not going to give the car to the brother. I'm like, you have a lot of cars, just give the car. I said, no. If I give this car to my brother, I'm going to compound his problems.
Okay.
You get me?
Okay.
He looks at him. I mean, it's a nice thing. You see, that's why people we don't pay attention to that part. They give you the car. He looks at him. He's like, look, the guy is even finding it difficult to pay the kid's school fees. Now I give him a car. He's not going to put so much concentration onto the car.
Yeah.
He needs to change tires,
like
change brake pads, change engine oil, filters, license. His driving is not on point. You get me?
Yeah.
And all these things, who's going to pay the insurance? And so he goes like, no, I can't give him the car. So you see, you sit behind, you don't see all these things coming in. You don't consider all these things.
So are you saying that, so once again, to the same analogy, when somebody gives me, you know your capabilities, maybe Toyota Corolla, and somebody gives you a Benz, at that state of what would you advise? Should I sell it and downgrade it to Toyota Corolla?
One thing I know is that when somebody gives you something, you don't sell it.
That's unfortunate bet too. So what do? You maintain that car. And how do you maintain it? You don't have what it takes to probably even service it.
Exactly.
So it's more like
the he's giving you a problem. You can't. Yes. You see a lot of people, you drive a Range Rover in town, the glasses are down, come back here, V8. You get me?
Okay.
So you look, so these are some of the things too. And then when you come down to the car, that's why I was saying that what you want is not always what you want that you get. No.
Okay.
I for one, I really love some VX 570 or some QX80. It'll be a nice car. Oh, V8. That'll be very nice in a high-rise car. Or I'll be driving a Volvo, the latest Volvo. I mean, yeah, I'll enjoy it. Yeah. But then the maintenance.
Yeah.
It's very expensive to maintain those cars. Okay. When something goes wrong, it's very expensive.
Okay.
Very, very expensive.
All right. So you should consider the kind of car that you're going to buy. The maintenance that has to come with it also should be something that you also look out for. So besides the insurance, maintenance and all those things, are there any key factors that you should pay attention to when you're trying to buy the car also?
Okay. So that is where the topic now is, that like what you watch out for and everything. Okay. Most of the times this thing is going to go rather deep into home use cars. Okay. Because a lot of people, most of us buy our cars home use, that they come from outside, they come in or used here, fairly used cars. So we hardly get the service history, or we hardly get the history of the car, as in the car's service history. We don't know actually what has been done or what has not been done. All we know is that we are sometimes able to get the history based on the mileage. The only history that we mostly get is the mileage. So we get a mileage, and then we can use the mileage to now do a few predictions.
But in your view, you think that the history should include something more than just a mileage? So as in how the car has been used previously, whether for commercial.
Okay, so you can have someone who actually lives end on end and is making almost about, let's say, about 100 kilometers to work every day. It's very possible. That is why they have, when you look at the history of big engines in Germany, we had people who were living way back like in Cape Coast, and they come all the way to Accra to work. Yes. Their roads are good and everything, so it just takes them about an hour to get to work and an hour to go back. You understand me? So it's very, very normal. That's how come we had these big engines coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you realize, okay, so you figure out the mileage has been covering, for instance, from what is being used for, whether it's for even commercial or private, then where the location has been moving out. But all that sums up to the miles.
Sums up to, yes, but then the person using the car also to count.
Now we hear that's a popular myth that we keep hearing.
Yes.
They take good care of their cars and all that.
Some of them they are even worse. They don't pay attention to.
Yeah. The opposite.
No. Yeah. It's rather very, very opposite. Very, very.
I see.
But then we have some women too who are very, very on point. Trust me, more than the men.
Okay.
Very disciplined. Very. I have a few of them.
Okay.
Yes, they pay very attention even to the detailing, the cleaning.
So back at the shoes near the
I have a friend, Betty. She's an Access Bank. I mean, it's very neat. Interior neat, boots neat.
Maybe it usually comes with the personality also. Yeah.
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe
so
when
you consider the history of the car, for instance, and then you are content with it. You also mentioned earlier that cars usually about 200 miles. 200,000 miles. They've exhausted their energy, sort of.
Yeah.
So when you're buying the car, and let's say you read the miles, and it's almost close to 200,000.
Then you should know that a lot of tear and wear has gone on in the engine. Moving parts. You understand me? Yes.
What would be the average miles you should consider when you're buying?
So I look at around 100 to 120 miles for a home use car.
Okay. For home use.
But we have some of them that are very low mileage. Some of them, you can get some of them as even low as 8,000, 10,000 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
But usually those cars have not been driven here in Ghana.
Yes, they haven't been driven. It's coming from outside.
It's coming from outside. Yeah. People also say they don't mind getting, let's say, accident car, for instance, over there, and then they bring it and then they repair it because they have some
cheaper.
very good.
It's cheaper.
Okay.
It's cheaper, and
but it also depends on where the accidents happen, don't you think?
Exactly. There's one thing I always say is that I've had issues around these kind of things. One thing I normally tell my people is that cheap things will always cost you in the end. Forget it. No matter what you do, cheap things are going to cost you in the end. So, for instance, like you're saying, you buy a home use car. You look at the mileage. The mileage will give you an idea, but like I was saying, you don't know who used the car and how the person was using the car. I, for one, if you buy my car, you're good to go. I have some other people.
They repair your car almost every week.
But I make sure. I mean, it's not I repair my car every week. The issue is that I don't. When there's one problem, it's solved. The next problem comes, it's solved.
I mean, this dude used about 5 hours to wash his car. One car. So when you're buying a car from him, you should understand. Wait, that was just by the way.
Yeah. So like I was saying,
when this my focus is even when it's an accident car.
Yeah.
Which one should you consider? Because some of them I hear it can affect the axles and if you're not careful.
Okay, so one thing I know is that when it's an accident car that it's coming, once you see the accident car coming in Ghana, it means that over there they have measures that they put in place. Okay. I think they have these IAA people that they check the cars and they make sure that, look, the cars wouldn't give them problems when they come into the country.
Okay.
This is what they do. The manufacturers or the dealers out there, before they bring the car in, they make sure there are certain parts of the car, when they say it's an accident car, they don't allow you to buy them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so for instance, when it's an engine fault, or the accident affected the engine, it affected the transmission, or affected the axle, the frame of the vehicle, they write the vehicle off. So that's when they take the parts out.
Okay.
The reason why they do that is because they don't want you to bring the car in to the country that you know it's the gearbox. So you go buy a gearbox, you take that old one out, you fix a new one, you try. They don't trust your maintenance and your repair works.
Oh, okay.
The company like Toyota out there wouldn't allow you to bring in such a car because they believe that car is going to give you problems. And they also believe in this kind of communication, like you sit down and then we have a chat. Oh, my Toyota is giving me problems. I changed the transmission. I changed the bearing. I did this. They don't want to hear that. It's going to send wrong signals.
Okay,
you get me? To other people. Yes. Yeah. So it's going to be a very big blow to them. Okay. So they don't. So they make sure that when it touches the gearbox, you don't bring it in the country.
So should I conclude then and say that all the possible home use cars, even the accident ones that come in, are the ones that we can easily manage here?
Yes, the ones that. So basically, it's the body parts or maybe
the water tank.
Yes, water tank, fender. Maybe the car jump over something. Maybe suspension. A bit of suspension works is good. Okay. But I've actually, I've worked on a car that had a serious transmission issue. Yes, it came in, and it was after some time that there was some issues and some fracas going on about it, and then we took the chassis number, we ran the chassis number, gave it to someone in America who had the license. He ran the car and then brought me all the car details. Okay. And I looked at it and I was surprised. The car was a total write-off, not supposed to be shipped. So how the car got into the country, I don't know. Yes.
So in as much as you are saying that there are some regulators out there that make sure that the ones that are shipped out are of good quality that can be managed.
Yes.
Yet some people, scrupulous ones
some
are still
people
shipping in some bad ones.
Yes, they find way to bring them in, and how they bring them in, I don't know.
Okay, good. So now let's talk about the year of the car.
Yeah.
I know at the port, for instance, when you are buying, when I was trying to also get mine, for instance, I was told that there's a cutoff point for old cars and the new cars. Yeah. Let's talk about that one. Which ones are older that when it comes even here, the older ones are even paying more?
They're paying more duty. Yeah, more duty because, I mean, this car will be consuming more fuel.
Why should we rather pay more for the old one?
You should pay more for an old car.
Why should that be
the car is going to bring you more problems.
But it's not to the government; it's to me. So why
I don't know.
I
really don't know why they do that. But I feel when you come in with a new car and a low mileage, emissions, the environment, and all those things. I mean, it's going to be eco-friendly and all that. I believe that once the car is overaged and you bring it in, it's going to be problems left, right, center. Better get a car that when you bring it into the system, it's not going to inconvenience anybody. It's not going to bring problems. You're not going to be breaking down the street and all those things. You get me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So I also realized that so the age is usually 10 years, I believe.
I think it's 10 years. That's what
10 years. So if you're buying, say, for instance, in the year 2022, it shouldn't be anything above 2032.
Yes.
That's the idea.
Yes.
Yeah. It shouldn't be anything that so it should be within that age range.
Exactly.
Maximum 31.
But there's one other thing too. I mean, I have clients who use their cars for 3 years, 3.5 years. When you travel in Ghana here, that we use our cars for a very long time. When you go into some of these corporate institutions, maximum they use their cars 3.5 years, then they write it off, they sell it off.
Oh yeah. I know some companies
they believe that after 3 years the car has lost its value. It's lost it. And then you ask yourself, this is the question I ask myself sometimes, how come they write off a car 3 years and the company is still going on working? They don't have issues with their cars having problems. So when you go into a company that you realize that they have very old cars, you see them having issues. Today this, tomorrow that, and then they keep on changing parts. Their hopes are getting. So I sometimes buy into it, but it's all about the money.
Yeah. So I think I made a mistake. The 10 years thing should be calculated backwards, rather.
Yes, backwards.
Calculated backwards, so it shouldn't expire within.
So yeah.
Okay.
So in 2022, so when you bring in a car 2012, you should know that it's gone. The duty is higher.
Okay.
The duty is higher.
All right. So having considered all these and looking at the make of the car and all that, and also having in mind that when it comes to be able to manage it in terms of maintenance and all those things.
Okay, so one thing too about us is that, labor is cheap here. And then we, outside and the big companies here, the car companies here, for instance, what they do is that they do part replacement.
Okay.
So when you come to my shop, for instance, and your alternator is giving you problems, I'll open it up and I'll fix it. I can check, okay, maybe the governor that is supposed to give the charge to the battery has a fault. Okay. We can replace it. But with these companies, once that part is gone off, you need to replace the whole thing. So they do part replacement.
Okay.
You get me? Yeah. And then it helps them. It keeps them. Part replacement is always the best.
Okay.
Part replacement is always the best.
So let's say the alternator is not working, you just take everything out.
Yes. So at my end, for instance, we'll try and help you fix it up. You get me?
Okay.
But over there, it's straight. It's damaged. It's spot. It's not working. The component, remove it, put in a new one.
Okay.
And it's the best.
Okay.
That's why we know. That's why I was telling you that cheap things always cost in the end.
True.
So at the end of the day, you're going to take out this alternator. You're going to change whatever component you put it in. Within the alternator, you have about 3 components in there. This one is gone. Definitely you should know the other one is going to go, the third one is going to go.
Okay.
But then when you decide to change the whole thing and put it, you know that for the next 5-6 years, you are good to go.
Okay.
There is no way you can open that thing, change it, and then expect to get it for 5 years. Trust me, maximum 2 years. You need to go back and change it back. But it all depends on the year make of the car too.
Okay.
Yes, if it's a pretty old car, more than 8 years, 10 years, and then you want to just be replacing certain things like I told you, cheap things.
I want to come back to that conversation about an old age car, let's say 200,000 miles done, that you can probably change everything, because I've seen a couple of videos outside, even they do pimp my ride and that kind of thing, change the interior, almost everything to make it look good. Whether it's something that we can also consider. But the phone lines are active. We're talking about plans or things to do before you buy your dream car or your car, any car that you want to buy. And if you have any questions to ask, the Auto Ways man is here. He's going to answer your questions on that. So the phone lines are active. The number is on your screen. You can give us a call, and then we'll pick up and then ask your questions. Plus, if you're unable to get through to the phone, you can alternatively send us a WhatsApp message. The number is on your screen, the right-hand corner of the screen. Just pick it up and send the messages to us, and then we'll answer all the questions for you that you have respect of you planning to buy your car. So, back to the question. I've had the car for, say, 5 years, 6 years down the line, or less, even 10 years maximum. I realized the engine is totally collapsed. I've worked on it a few times, and then the seating, the material is all torn and all that. Can I decide that I want to probably buy it from somebody? Because I know, especially the taxis that apply, the commercial ones, taxis especially, would want to even buy the old ones, and then they'll change some few things and then use it as taxi. Because I'm gonna see taxi there, they don't need a brand new car, or even home use ones in Pool. Because the one that I bought, for instance, that one that I sold, the Nissan Sentra that I was talking about, the person that bought it changed it to a taxi. Yeah. So is it possible that somebody, maybe a misome per car, but misika na so, maybe a ton 20,000 Ghana cedis for me, and I can't come up with that 20 Ghana cedis. But I got another one, the engine is totally down, but I can afford to buy the engine with maybe the 10,000 cedis that I have, and do some few repair works and manage it.
It's very possible,
and it's okay.
People do a lot of this thing, and then sometimes within the individuals, it takes that heart to be able to stand it. There's some people who don't want the stress, the hustling and all those things. Today the car is giving you problems and all those things.
Yeah.
So normally people who normally do that are people who really know a lot about cars.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't just be there and then you go like, look, I believe I can take up this car with a damaged engine, try and fix in a new one, and it will work for me. It takes people who have that heart, who know more about cars. You get me?
Yeah, I think you're right, because I heard a couple of times that people have had to change the entire engine.
Yes.
And then some few months down the line start having problems with the engine again, because the engine that they bought wasn't good enough or something like that.
So that's what I'm saying, that it takes, I mean, such things can just frustrate you. It will just frustrate you.
Okay.
You get me?
All right.
So you can buy a car, you realize that the interior is not good, the engine is bad. So you make your plus and minuses, miscellaneous expenses, what you take to fix it. Okay, buying the engine is going to cost you this. You buy the engine, you check the upholstery, you fix it up, you check the suspension, body works. Maybe it might be good for you, and then you handling the car. Normally, like we said, the person handling the car counts.
Okay.
It counts a lot. You get me?
Yeah.
I can drive my car for over 3 years and not even change my shock absorber, because I know how to climb ramps, how to go over ramble strips, how to fall in potholes, where to speed, where not to speed. You get me? So all these things. Okay. Yeah.
So then, for no, somebody like a brother comes to a car, or you took a car, because you are used to that kind of car for a while. Somebody takes it and then they drive it differently from. And then
they just bring the car. Maybe even the suspension is even about to give up. You give it to someone, he drives and he feels it. But then you take your time, you drive. Okay. And there's one other thing too. I don't really advise people, don't share your car. Don't give your car to people.
Oh, sometimes for family's sake.
Yes.
No, the brother needs help. So you want
okay. Not necessarily you don't give it. You can, depends on who the person is. I have some friends I'll give my car out to. Okay. Yes.
Like me, I can drive.
Oh yeah.
I don't like manual, so you like driving manual, which I don't like manual.
I have some friends I can just give my car to them and they can take it in, because when they bring it back, it's in good shape. It's in good shape.
Okay.
And then you give your car out to someone, that person you give your car out to. When the person takes the car, he smashes it, the person can repair it. If you give your car out to someone to go and use, and the person messes up the car and the person can't fix it, then what will be the essence?
All right, awesome. So well, just about wrapping up, but I want you to sum it all up. Somebody who wants to buy the car, the things they should take care of and all that, just in summation.
Okay. So like we said, before you buy the car, for instance, like you said, we consider your budget. You should know you're going to do insurance on the car, your roadworthy, and all those things. Then you should know that your servicing, which is very, very important. Very, very important. You don't joke around with it. Your brake pads and all those things. And then even before you buy the car, you should be able to have some information on the car, the history about the car. That history, normally we don't have that whole history thing. So what you normally do is that you use the mileage, and that mileage can give you some caps, can make you give you some small predictions like, oh, okay, this car is 200,000 miles, then you should know that, look, this car, I'm going to drive it for the next 2 years. It's going to be down. Are you prepared to invest, putting money into that? This is most of the things that you need to really find out. You get me? Get the history of the car. One other thing too, before you buy the car, look for someone who is at customs. Run the chassis number.